was strategic.
At first I thought, yeah, all right. Because after I put it in or started working on it, these people tell me, we can do, there's this, there's that, there's that. So, since the whole building is city owned, I wanna see what all the government grants are. Now, finding this new, because we're at Legacy Lease, or Legacy Trust. You know, that license we can do, but we have, so I probably found a word, between quarterly and council minutes, you know, as we do this, so we can, but I thought, you know, to see if we could get them to do a little bit of time. That's only property is 21. So when I start getting them, the ones that I wanna go, get the words just right and make sure that we can do it independent of something that happens here. I hate working with state.
I usually get, you can ask for it, I'll pick it up for you. And then you give it back after I get it to you.
Federal government, I mean, I love it. And being involved.
Yeah, you go. Did you know it's 1:30 in the morning in Europe?
It is 6:30, and I will call the Florence regular meeting, City Council, to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Van Houten. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Van Houten. Here. Counselor Stiefel.
Here.
Counselor Gardner.
Here.
Counselor Mergelman.
Here.
Counselor Stone.
Here.
Counselor McKinnon.
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here. Next, we have visitors. Just a reminder, 3-minute limit. And when you come up, state your name and your address. First speaker, Zoe Katazoulis. Close. Yeah, I tried.
Zoe Katsoulis?
Could you press the button on the microphone, please? Thank you.
How's that? There we go. Zoe Katsoulis, 916 West 2nd Street is my address. And I'm here to say a few words tonight before the vote on the Humane Society contract. I want to remind everyone that this is not just an animal issue. I can assure you that based on my experience of working with stray animals across the globe, that this is also a human health and public safety issue. Dogs and stray animals that are roaming free are animals that don't have veterinary care, which means they are animals that don't have vaccinations. We've largely eradicated rabies in this country due to vaccinations. However, there have been some cases more recently arising in the wild. With unvaccinated dogs running free, it is possible for them to contract rabies from wild animals. At that point, it's only a matter of time before we see our first human case. Loose dogs running in the streets also cause human injury from accidents, resulting in people trying to either avoid hitting them or taking things into their own hands and trying to recover these animals on their own, putting themselves in harm's way of traffic oftentimes, which I can speak to from personal experience. And dogs roaming free can also assemble into packs And pack behavior is very different from individual dog behavior, which can also change the way they react to humans and increase the potential for human conflict or injury. It's also important to remember that these dogs, I speak to dogs in particular because this is our primary issue, and primarily what the Humane Society contract will deal with, but these animals will most likely not be spayed or neutered as well, which means they will be reproducing. So the problem that we have now will be multiplying. And I can assure you that we already do have a problem. The numbers of loose and stray animals here in Florence and in the county are rising exponentially for a variety of reasons. And with the disagreement that occurred with the Humane Society and the county this year, that has only been exacerbated. Last month, I also attended the county commissioners meeting to address these same issues. And I'll just conclude by saying I urge you to approve the funding for the contract and stay ahead of this very serious animal welfare and human health and safety issue, and to protect both the animals and the people of Florence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, Sue Kinzer.
Good evening, everybody. It's Sue Kinzer, 302 Wilson Avenue here in Florence. I'm wondering what the heck these are all about. I keep getting these, I'm sure everybody else does too. They've taken the place of your car warranty, I think. These are from HomeServe saying, send us some money and you'll be covered. So if you have problems with your meter or you have to dig up whatever, you're covered. So today I got one. Usually it's for one utility or the other. Today I get one and it says it's for both electric and water. It's from HomeServe, which is a separate company from the Black Hills. So my question is it for real? And if it is for real, where's that money going? The excess money, where does it go? And why every place I've lived, every state, every town, and even when I lived out of the country, we never had anything like this before. So this is the first time I've even seen something like this. So I guess I need some answers. Or is it for real? Is it?
Yes, I got the same one today.
Is it a car warranty? Is it?
No.
We have no affiliation with this company.
We have no affiliation with that, and I would be glad to talk to you about that afterwards, just as a
Okay.
citizen.
Okay. And the last thing is doesn't even have to do with this, but it has to do with what Zoe was talking about. Female cats can have up to 100 kittens. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Next agenda item is meeting minutes from December 4th, 2023.
Yeah, so when I was doing the minutes, I just want to be transparent and letting everybody know that on the ordinance item, the motion that was read wasn't entirely accurate, but we all know that the intention was to read the ordinance motion, passing the first reading of Ordinance 8-2023. So I just want everybody to know that that has been amended in the minutes that you're looking at. So if you guys are to make the motion and pass these minutes, please read that as amended, okay? And then there's also some roll call errors here. I have 6 council members instead of my new 7, so please be mindful that I will fix that as well. So those 2 amendments will go into the minutes. And if there's anything else that anybody picked up, just let me know.
There's another item that I was thinking about doing a point of clarification, but it's more appropriate for tomorrow night in our special meeting.
I move to approve the meeting minutes for December 4th, 2023 as amended.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Van,
Item 5A, bills allowed. City Manager, please.
Are there any questions on the bills allowed?
So we did get the HVAC fixed. That was the big HVAC.
They are working on something with the controls for it right now. It is not fixed. It will be over $1 million to actually fix the HVAC system in its entirety because it will need to be fully replaced.
Okay.
So we are patching it together
Okay.
and going along. It was included in the CIP for whenever we can find funding for it.
I'll make a motion to pass bills allowed for $81,025.40.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Next, new business. Item 6A, 2024 Humane Society of Fremont County Incorporated contract. City Manager, please.
So this is your 2024 contract with the Humane Society of Fremont County. The cost is a 4.85% increase over the cost for 2023, making the cost $13,556.79. This was a budgeted item and was included in the first reading of the budget that you recently did at the December 4th meeting. The city does have some cost recovery. Under the municipal code, we are allowed to charge an impoundment fee of $20 for the first offense, $40 for the second, $80 for the third, and so on. It continues doubling for each offense. And we may charge a licensing fee if the animal is not licensed, and $5 per day for care. So there is some degree of cost recovery with that. Other than that, it's just the decision on if you would like to pass it or not.
Any questions from the council? I have one. Since we are signing a contract, do we get like an end of the year report? Is there a deliverable of some sort that goes along with the contract?
I don't believe there's anything included in the contract that requires that, but I would be happy to speak with their director and see if we can get something before we would sign the next year's contract so that you can see what you got from this one.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the contract from the Humane Society in
I'll
the
s-
city of Lawrence.
Do you have a second?
second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor Stone, yes. Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. New business, item 6B, ordinance 9/2023, city rules and procedures. City Manager.
So this is an ordinance that would adopt a document called the City Council Rules of Procedure, and it would incorporate it into your municipal code by reference. The document is included into your packet, and it provides rules and procedures found in city ordinances and best practices used for a wide variety of municipal and other small governments. The City Council Rules of Procedure contains 5 chapters, each of which covers in depth a variety of topics related to efficient and orderly conduct of City Council meetings, including the authority of rules, the council organization and duties, the conduct of the City Council meetings and schedules, and meeting guidelines and procedures. So what this does is basically outlines all the procedures that we've talked about over time and codifies them and puts them in an easy to reference document so that the whole council, staff, and anyone from the public is able to access and look at this and see how we expect council meetings to be run.
At this time, is there any comment from the public in regards to the ordinance?
Hi, Kathy Madonna, 504 Brookway. I have two issues or two questions. One is the requirement to state addresses when we come to the podium. I'm asked that, well, wonder what the purpose is. Is it to identify city residents? If it is, then can we have people give their actual residence versus post office? We've had people come to the podium and they just give post office. They have a post office box here in Florence, but they are not residents. And I think that makes a difference in that. So if we could maybe clarify that. The second issue I'd like to clarify is our official records, our minutes. We're not keeping the videos for more than 6 months, and so to me that means that our minutes are the official record. And has there been a discussion by council as to what that looks like? Apparently there are 4 schools of thoughts regarding minutes as to whether they are just action items, whether they're general ideas, the general intent, if that's captured in the minutes, whether it's verbatim, and then the last is the video. And since we're not keeping the video for more than 6 months, I would like to understand what council's preference is as to how the minutes are documented. Is it just going to be action items? I think that's what Tom kind of inferred prior to Amy coming on board. But I would like some clarification on that, because this is what we're holding your feet to the fire based on the recorded minutes. So I would like for you to give that some consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy.
I think Dan wants to just chime in really quick.
Yeah, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with regard to the address, it is just best practice. Ideally, it is to help identify and ensure that the commenter, is a member of the community, not that people outside the community may not be affected or have a voice, but without sort of that check, there have been, especially of late, especially with remote and virtual meetings, sort of a lot of anonymous, even chatbot type, disruptions of regular meetings. So the request for the address is just meant to kind of, again, zero in on the fact that the commenter has a relationship to the community. With regard to the 6-month time limit on the video and the minutes, it is a balancing act between sort of legal risk by preserving things and having retention policies and storage costs, etc. But the official meeting minutes will always and always have been the enshrined and permanent documentation of the meeting. Certainly open to council's discussion of how they want those to look, but would just sort of note that for centuries that's all that's existed, and so it's not a huge change or departure from the past. But again, yes, we should clarify how council expects that to look.
Okay, nice.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Comments or questions from the council?
My just comment is I want to thank you. We are becoming more of a professional group, if you will, getting all of this down in black and white and procedures and policy books. I am very appreciative of this because this is something I have never done before in my life. So I want to say thank you for getting us in order, and thank you.
Question for Corlin, is this a topic that we could discuss with CIRSA whenever we have our workshop? Would
As far as what?
the
Rules and
agenda
procedures?
or minutes?
Sure. Yeah, I think Sam Light could shed some light on that. Absolutely. I do know. I just want to clarify. Tom was very old school and wanted a lot of detailed minutes. But in my history with working with other clerks, they noted that the liability that may open the city up to, and if I don't nail somebody's intention or connotation correctly, then they are welcome to come up for their 3 minutes and note that. So as far as keeping the city out of a precarious situation, action minutes across multiple municipalities are preferred and utilized. And we use our Colorado retention schedule for all video and audio recordings.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any specific questions on?
So I had one on the ethical part within the council rules.
Could you give us the page?
No,
No, I'm sorry.
that's all right. I'll find it really quick. Where is it?
Page
Page
10,
10.
ethical conduct.
Yeah. So my question would be that I would hope that we're following the same ethical conduct that the city workers will be doing. That was my thought process. That's what,
Today, but I came in and got them answered. I just was on the planning and zoning consent agenda about how stuff is brought to the council. And if there's several items on the agenda that are non-controversial, they can all be handled with one motion. We've never had to do that. We've never done it, but I guess they explained to me how that works. So that answered that question. But most of the stuff we bring in is explained to the council anyway, so I just didn't understand that, but that's how that works.
Okay, I did have one question on page 19. I think it's some verbiage that needs to maybe be addressed here. It's page 19, third paragraph. It said, no person other than the applicant or proponent of an agenda item will be permitted to address any single item before the city council more than once during the same meeting. When I read that proponent, I read it as, if you are for the agenda meeting, you're a proponent of it, you might be able to speak more than once, but if you were an opponent, you could only speak once. So I think we need to change that word proponent to something else. I came in and talked about it, and it was no person other than the applicant or somebody directly involved, personnel directly involved with that agenda item. And I could see that it'd be like, you've got the applicant and they have an engineer. And so the engineer may be able to speak more than once. So.
Dan, could we change that to the applicant or an individual directly involved with the agenda item?
Yeah, and I think that's a good catch. It wasn't meant to be sort of a one-sided thing. So happy to wordsmith it if needed, but I think the proposed language gets at it. And I would just also mention that next sentence gives even some more wiggle room for, again, a unique circumstance.
Okay, I agree with that. Any other discussion or questions? It's your time to speak up. Pardon? Can you say a word on the what?
I was asking if I could say a word on one of the relevant points that's being discussed.
Yes, I'll allow it.
Thank you. I only wanted to address the point that somebody was making about giving our address when we speak at the podium. I'll just say that I haven't spoken, I don't think, about anything that is that much of a hot button, but I do think there is a potential to be concerned about safety if somebody wants to speak about something that others might not agree with, and while they might be able to find that person's address by other means, we might want to make it a little more challenging than just broadcasting it if it is something that somebody really wants to get out of hand about.
Okay, thank you.
And I understand the need to give so maybe if it's possible to give the address to the council so that it is a matter of record still, but maybe not publicly.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for the governing rules? We have a motion to approve these as amended.
I move to adopt ordinance 9, 2023, an ordinance amending chapter 2.08.010 of the municipal code of the city of Florence, Colorado, previously entitled Meeting Dates, updating the title to City Council Rules of Procedure and incorporating by reference City Council Rules of Procedure document as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Stiefel,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. Okay, next we have item 7, administrative reports. First, council reports. Gail?
Thank you.
Told you I was technology challenged. Had a phone call after Thanksgiving, and this individual, born and raised in Florence, has a business in Florence, understood the concern over the condition of the post office yard. In my visiting with Roberta during the summer, and just questioning and hearing about budget cuts, etc., through the federal government, I understood what was what was going on. Nevertheless, there are more than just the post office yard that does need attention in 24. But anyway, Stephen Andrew Castellano, Complete Yard Service, donated his time on Sunday, December 3rd. He and 4 of his workers spent from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon cleaning the post office yard. No charge. So if you see a truck, Complete Yard Service, you might say thank you. I certainly did. I saw them working that morning, and yeah. So anyway, he took it upon himself to clean the yard, and so very thankful that he did that.
I attended the Florence Chamber of Commerce meeting, and they're working on their 2024 events. They're also going to start up the business after hours in January. Maybe the museum is going to be the first after hours.
We won't be the first,
Okay,
but
February.
we've got a date set.
Okay, great. I also attended the Taco and Margarita membership party, and I think that was a good success for them. And then the Florence Merchants, they've been working on the Christmas downtown events down there and have a lot of good things to say. They're also electing their new board members this month, and they gave in-kind memberships to the museum, bell tower, and senior center. That's it.
Brenda?
I have nothing.
Rudel?
I went to the mayor what's the proper?
Mayor's Roundtable.
Mayor's Roundtable, which was very interesting. And I couldn't find the margarita party. And what else? I went to the merchants, gonna miss Renee. Renee's done a wonderful job with that group. It's sad to see her not be part of it anymore, but things change. That's all I have.
On the 7th, 11th, and 13th, I spent a majority of the day here at City Hall working with city staff to implement some of our upgrades. And while it's still a work in progress, a lot of little things add up to a big thing.
Thank you. James?
The Florence Craft Fair went off without a hitch. They did a really good job having a basketball game going on at the same time. Brought in a lot of different people from a lot of different communities. So, and just a wonderful time. Thanks to the community for coming up and supporting us.
Thank you, Santa.
I attended the BOZA hearing, the Mayor's Roundtable Merchants Meeting. Had attended a meeting with Congresswoman Pedersen on Saturday. I'll get to that in just a moment. Couple things, the Tree Committee. Tree Committee has put together an educational trifold. We have one little section to check out some verbiage and make sure it aligns with code, so we'll have that hopefully for an action item in January. The Mayor's Roundtable. Just some things that for the whole community to give everybody. Rockville, they are going to put in a Flight for Life pad up at station number 3. Coal Creek is looking at potential grants to connect Coal Creek to Florence with hiking trails. Canyon City said that CDOT has started their project on the west end from 1st Street to 15th eventually, and there may be traffic issues at times. Mike Witt, the new Fremont County Transportation Department Director, he gave an update on our IGA between Fremont County and Florence, where it's they do work in lieu of water that they take. And he explained all the projects that they have done. They're cutting ditches, some chip seal, some snow plowing. They are preparing for some paving that'll happen after the winter. I know Brandon's been real happy with what they've been doing. And so that was probably one of the first official things that we put together. And that's going well. And he was really excited about how it was working and looking forward to next July when it comes up. We will put together the next 2026 project. He has trying to make an effort to put it on the out of cycle request and trying to get this moving in fiscal year 25. Okay. At the meeting on Saturday, Will Lackey was there from Coal Creek. He's also on the Regional Water Board, and we talked extensively about the possible use of what they call the community project funding for the dewatering part of the water system project. And, we talked, people are real receptive to it. They think it'll fit right in. The fact that our biggest user is a federal facility cannot hurt in any way. So that's something I have passed on all that information to city staff for their purview, and they will give us a heads up at the beginning of the year when the window is for applying for these type of funding. Okay, that's all I have.
And a quick question for Cortland. Has anybody submitted letters of interest for the Planning Commission, just out of curiosity?
We do have one.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. I know they're pretty close to not having a quorum. So.
Right, and that person is not in town right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, one last thing I forgot, right here, excuse me. Talked with Brad Rowland at Emerging Campus today, and they are a 2024 recipient of the Stephen H. Hart Award. It's from the let's see where I get it right here. From History Colorado. They're recognizing projects that create affordable housing, build an inclusive historic record, and catalyze economic opportunities in rural Colorado. And that's what they got the award for. It says the emerging campus invests in rural prosperity by bringing high-tech jobs to rural Colorado and providing space for innovative sector workers, remote tech workers, and other entrepreneurs. Since the emerging campus moved into the historic Florence High School in 2019, it's actively transformed the space to provide co-working and business offices to provide an attractive solution for tech companies seeking lower operating costs. This transformed space and extended program is responsible for 80-plus new tech-based jobs in Fremont County, all while maintaining the historic integrity of Florence High School. Emergent Campus is being recognized for being a strong proponent of adaptive reuse and its commitment to historic preservation in an effort to have Florence High School building listed in the National Register of Historic Places. And there will be a more formal presentation of this, I believe, in April. City Manager.
Are there any questions on my report?
Could you explain just a little bit about your meeting with the UCOG rep?
Yes, we have a developer who's looking to put in some attainable housing up off of Arrowhead, and the city of Florence has opted into a state program called Prop 123, which does help the developer to close some of the gap on their funding and reduce the price of the housing. This doesn't have any cost to the city of Florence, the Prop 123 itself. We're just supposed to try and meet a target for the number of attainable housing units, as they are called now, that are put into Florence. There's a formula that UACOG and DOLA use to determine what is attainable. Ashley, I believe that's around 250,000. Is that correct? Okay. Somewhere in that ballpark. One thing that Ashley and I did learn from this meeting that was really encouraging is that UACOG will monitor any housing that is built using Prop 123 money and help to ensure that it remains at an attainable mark for at least 30 years. So someone can't come in and purchase it and then flip it and raise it to an incredibly high price that makes it not attainable.
Okay. All right, very good. Any other questions?
How did they sell those? They put those out onto the open real estate market for agents to sell?
Yes, that's our understanding of how they do that. I know that the developer does work really closely with DOLA and UACOG throughout the whole process.
Agent to handle the sale.
Yes. And did want to remind the council that there is a special meeting tomorrow at 5:30 to do the another first reading of the budget after we receive the updated valuation from Fremont County.
Anybody have any call for executive session? Hearing none and having no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.